American elections. Well, it is suspense time, viewers' times now has always been the election news headquarters, whether in India or outside. In fact, when I hit the campaign trail in the United States just last month, I got you confident voices from both sides of the ideological debate. In fact, today, as voting begins, the race to the White House is still very, very evenly balanced. While Trump's Make America Great Again resonates, Desi girl Harris has drawn support from women and people from diverse racial backgrounds. While the Swifties, Taylor Swift followers for the uninitiated, are rooting for Harris, Elon Musk's Twitterati are backing Trump. As Americans decide tonight, let's tell you who's leading in this bitterly fought elections. As per New York Times, Kamala Harris is leading over Trump by 1% at 49%. ABC News polls have also given a lead to Kamala Harris at 48 versus 47% to Trump. Another survey, CPR 2024, is giving an edge to Harris as well. But as per Yahoo News, YouGov survey, it's a tie between both the candidates, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, at the national level at 47%. But the key to the White House lies with these 7 swing states on your screens. If one looks at it, then Trump seems to have a small lead in 4 of these states, including Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. But which way is it going? Well, your guess is as good as anybody else's guess. And tonight, we are joined by Harison, advisor to Trump, somebody who has watched these elections, been a campaign advisor to Donald Trump. Joining me this evening is Harison. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for joining me here on Newshour. And every eye in the United States is, of course, on who's making it to the White House. But your elections in the United States are even being followed very closely by Indians, not just in America, but even Indians in India. Question is, how has Donald Trump managed to close the gap? Whose race is it? Who's ahead? How are you looking at the polls? What are you predicting?
Well, thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on, and I'm really looking forward to talking with your audience today. We feel really good about where we're at on Election Day. One thing is that, historically speaking, Donald Trump, this is his 3rd run for the White House. He has never been in a stronger position electorally or in the polling going into Election Day than he is right this minute. I think what we've seen is a very strong surge over the past six to 8 weeks of enthusiasm for President Trump. And we're seeing it play out today as people are waiting in line to vote. We've got a large turnout surge in the rural counties of a lot of these states that you just mentioned in the battlegrounds, in particular Pennsylvania, Georgia, and also in North Carolina. So we feel very good about how we're positioned to go ahead and win this election, and not only win it closely, but we believe at this moment that we're on pace to win rather substantially.
The popularity ratings, there seemed to be a little bit of a gap about 4 or 5 weeks ago, but former President Trump has closed in the gap. Why do you think he's managed to do that? What's the reason? What's the strategy? And do you think it's been enough to get him a victory?
Well, one of the things that's really helped propel Donald Trump's campaign right now is the fact that he has been leading on all of the key core issues that the American people are facing and considered to be the most important elections or important issues that they are weighing their votes on as we come into Election Day here. Number one, the economic status of of the country. We've been faced with significant inflation pressure over the past 4 years. Kamala Harris has been the vice president for the past 4 years and has done really nothing to address those concerns. It just costs more to live in the United States today than it did 4 years ago. And in addition to that, most Americans are not earning additional income to cover that increased cost. So you've got a lot of unhappy people out there. And then additionally to that, you have complete ignoring of the southern border issue that faces the United States. The southern Mexican border of the United States has been basically left open for the past 4 years. We've seen increases in mass migration across the border, and it has been overwhelming a lot of the civil services in numerous cities throughout the country. What we have seen through their neglect of this issue is we've seen this immigration issue not just go from a Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico and California issue, but it has spread to other states as they have continued to migrate further into the rest of the country. They've overwhelmed civil services. You've got schools that suffer massive increases in student populations without the requisite teachers to be able to handle that. You've got health services that are overwhelmed, and most importantly, police services that are overwhelmed. And you've also seen a resulting crime surge in many of our cities. So with these two issues, these are really, really leading the charge for President Trump and making his case for him that things were way better 4 years ago than they are today.
So let me ask you, the assassination attempts on Trump, how much have they lent to a sympathy wave for him? And is that one of the factors that may have helped him close the gap in the polls?
Well, I think one thing that's very important to remember is nobody fights like Donald Trump. He's faced more adversity in this election in particular and over the course of his political career than any other American politician in history. The fact that he came within half an inch of probably being murdered on live national television and survived right back up and got right back in the fight. I think a lot of Americans found that to be an inspiring testimony to his character. He's absolutely unflappable. And in challenging times, I think that the American people are looking for a strong leader to take the reins of this country and get us back on track. I think that's one of President Trump's biggest strengths as a candidate. And he is truly, truly a unique political figure and a truly, truly strong and great leader that I think our country needs to put back in office. And we're very confident that that's going to happen today. And if we're counting votes a little bit longer than even tonight, well, into tomorrow, but we believe we're going to get there eventually.
Well, before I let you go, Harrison, when did you last meet Trump and how confident was he?
President Trump, from all accounts, I have not been traveling with him on the plane, but from all accounts of the people that are with him, he is in great spirits. He is continuing the fight. I mean, nobody's got the kind of energy that that President Trump brings to the table. And he is absolutely relentless in his pursuit of victory. And people are feeling good. They may be physically tired, but folks have a real hard time keeping up with Donald Trump. The guy is just an absolute machine, and it's really inspiring to work for him.
Well, thank you very much, Aaron, for joining us here. We're going to keep our eyes on those votes as they get counted. I don't know if you're going to be chewing on your nails, but back home, this has been as close an election as we've seen in recent years. We'll be watching closely and probably chewing on our nails as well. To be with you and share the suspense as it builds up and then gets resolved. All the very best. Thank you very much for joining me